Welcome to Afro Tales Hub channel. In a village where the sky and earth met, and where the traditions were ancient like the whispering baobab trees, there resided a woman named Amina. Amina possessed enchanting qualities. Her eyes were deep pools of wisdom, and her laughter had the power to bring smiles to even the most serious elders. Despite her beauty and charm, she remained unmarried. Weary of her solitude and desperate to find a husband, Amina sought guidance from the oracle, a wise old woman named Nia, who had the ability to communicate with the ancestors. Nia resided in a hut that carried the scent of herbs and ancient scrolls. Nia spoke to Amina, saying, "Your destiny is unlike any other. The man who fathers your child shall become the ruler of this village, and his reign shall bring unparalleled prosperity." Intrigued and empowered by Nia's words, Amina devised a daring plan. She decided to engage in intimate relationships with every eligible man in the village. Amina believed that this way, she would not only discover her destined husband but also secure the best future leader for her people. As time passed, and weeks turned into months, rumors began to circulate throughout the village. Amina's unconventional search for a husband became the topic of discussion at every gathering and around every fire. Finally, Amina found herself pregnant. She was radiant, her belly round and full, a living testament to the prophecy. As her due date drew near, tension filled the air. Each family with an eligible son began to claim the unborn child as their own, staking their claim to the future chieftainship. In the midst of this turmoil, Amina gave birth to a healthy baby boy. The village rejoiced, but their joy was short-lived. The immediate and pressing question arose: who was the father of this child destined to rule? Elders convened, wives gossiped, and warriors sharpened their spears. Everyone had a theory, and every man desired a test. The village teetered on the edge of a civil war, and only the true identification of the child's father could bring peace. However, Amina remained serene and confident. She knew that the prophecy would not fail her nor her people. Holding her newborn son, named Tariq, meaning he who knocks at the door, in her arms, she awaited the revelation that would forever change the fate of her village. A week had passed since Tariq's birth, and it felt as though a new era was knocking at the door of the village, filled with both uncertainty and anticipation. The Council of Elders, the esteemed body responsible for making significant decisions, gathered beneath the oldest baobab tree, its gnarled branches seemingly burdened by the weight of the crucial choice ahead. "Our ancestors have always guided us during times of both harmony and discord," spoke O, the eldest among them, his voice trembling like the last leaves of autumn. "We must seek their wisdom to resolve this crisis." Just then, Nia, the oracle, entered the circle, her eyes aglow with a fire that seemed almost supernatural. Speaking with a mesmerizing melody, she declared, "I have communed with the ancestors, and they have bestowed their wisdom upon me." The cicadas fell silent, captivated by Nia's presence. The council proposed a test, one that would not only reveal the father of young Tariq but also determine the future leader of their people. Murmurs spread through the council, even among the seasoned elders who had witnessed countless harvests and seasons. This test was unprecedented. The test continued, and Nia explained that each potential father must undertake a journey to the sacred mountain. At the peak of the mountain lay a special stone, a moonstone infused with the wisdom of their ancestors. The man who returned with this stone would be recognized as the true father and the destined ruler of the village. A collective gasp filled the air as the weight of the task sank in. The sacred mountain was a place of perils, wild beasts, treacherous terrain, and spiritual trials that could break even the strongest will. Yet, the Council of Elders knew that there was no other way. After a moment of pensive silence, we spoke, "Then it is decided. Each claimant will set forth at dawn, 3 days hence. May the ancestors guide us." As the council dispersed, the village square became a tapestry woven with excitement, fear, and hope. Amina, holding young Tariq close to her chest, felt a calm assurance wash over her. The ancestors had set the stage, and now it was up to the men to prove their worth. Little did she know the twists and turns that lay ahead, for the journey to the sacred mountain held surprising revelations that would profoundly change the village and its people. 3 days later, as dawn broke, a sense of expectant hush enveloped the village. The air was thick with the fragrance of burning sage, as incense bellowed from homes seeking the blessings of the ancestors for the journey ahead. 6 men stood at the village square, each representing a different family claiming Tariq as their own. Their faces displayed a mix of eagerness, fear, and a simmering excitement that was almost tangible. Amina, cradling Tariq in her arms, quietly watched them. Her eyes met each of theirs, conveying a wordless message that seemed to say, "May the best men win." With the blow of a horn and the beat of drums, the journey began. Each man carried a satchel filled with offerings, kola nuts, palm wine, and sacred amulets to honor the spirits of the sacred mountain. The path was laden with challenges, both physical and mystical. Rivers twisted like serpents, forests whispered secrets, and caves echoed with the laughter and cries of forgotten souls. However, the true test awaited them at the foot of the sacred mountain. A stone altar stood there, adorned with ancient runes that told tales of heroes, gods, love, and betrayal. Beside the altar, a pool of water reflected their deepest fears and desires. As the men reached the altar, a voice echoed around them, a voice so ethereal it seemed to belong to the mountain itself. "Offer what you value most, and you may proceed," the voice resonated, filling the air with unspoken gravity. One by one, the men approached the altar, offering gold, heirlooms, and cherished possessions. Yet, nothing happened. The way to the peak remained sealed, mocking their futile attempts. Finally, it was Gino's turn. Gino was not the wealthiest or the strongest among them, but he was known for his wisdom and humility. Instead of placing an object on the altar, he knelt and offered a prayer. A prayer for the village, for Amina, and for the unborn generations who would inherit the earth. As he finished, the altar glowed with a soft, radiant light, and the path to the peak opened up, as if summoned by his sincerity. All were awed and humbled. The men followed Gino as he led the way, their burdens feeling lighter, their resolve stronger. Bound by newfound understanding that true leadership required more than wealth or strength, it demanded the wisdom of the heart. The ascent up the sacred mountain was unlike any other climb. Every step seemed to be a dance between the earthly and the divine, where physical exertion met spiritual enlightenment. The men felt their breath grow shorter, but their senses heightened. Every rock, every gust of wind appeared imbued with ancestral wisdom. Finally, they reached the peak, where the night sky appeared just a reach away, with twinkling stars bearing witness to this pivotal moment in the village's history. There it was, the moonstone, softly glowing in the moonlight, as if pulsating with the heartbeat of the mountain itself. Gino approached the stone first, his hands trembling as he touched its cool surface. The moonstone lit up, its glow intensifying into a radiant beam that shot up towards the sky, returning as a cascade of light that enveloped him. A celestial voice echoed, "Son of Kofi, you have proven your worth. This child, Tariq, is yours, and you are destined to lead your people." Overwhelmed by emotion, Gino fell to his knees. The men who accompanied him were silent, humbled and awed by the revelation, their prior envy and rivalry dissipating like morning mist as they descended the mountain. The village came into sight, bathed in the soft glow of dawn, as the men felt different, transformed not just by the revelation but also by the journey itself. It was as if they had shed layers of ignorance and ego, revealing new skins of wisdom and humility. When they arrived, the entire village had gathered, the tension in the air palpable, a sea of anxious and expectant faces. Gino stepped forward, holding the moonstone high for all to see. "The ancestors have spoken," he declared. "I am the father of Tariq, and it is my destiny to lead this village." A collective gasp followed, then a roar of cheers and ululations. The elders nodded in approval, their faith in ancestral wisdom reaffirmed. Amina, with Tariq in her arms, walked over to Gino. Their eyes met, and in that moment, all the complexities and hardships seemed to melt away, leaving behind a pure, unspoken understanding as Gino took his son in his arms. For the first time, the village erupted in joyous celebration. But Amina knew that this was just the beginning. They had averted a crisis and perhaps even started a new chapter in their history, but the real work lay ahead in raising a child destined for greatness and leading a village towards prosperity. Yet, with the moonstone as their guiding light and ancestral wisdom in their hearts, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead together. Several moons had passed since the day Gino was declared the father of Tariq and the future leader of the village. A sense of peace and prosperity seemed to have settled over the community, a testament to the prophecy foretold. Or so it seemed. One fateful evening, as Amina was nursing Tariq under the shadow of their family heart, she overheard a hushed conversation from behind the thick baobab tree that stood sentinel-like near her home. "You've done well, Gino. The village expects nothing, and the prophecy appears fulfilled." The raspy voice of Nia, the oracle, was unmistakable. "My conscience is troubled, Nia. We have deceived the people who trust us, and I am raising a son who is not truly mine." Gino's voice quivered with regret. "Oh, but you will be a wise and kind ruler. Isn't that what's best for the village?" "A benevolent deception, I call it," Nia responded, her tone chillingly casual. Amina's heart sank. Betrayal, like a stealthy serpent, had entered her garden of trust. As she looked at Tariq, innocent and oblivious, a new resolve formed in her mind. The villagers might have been deceived, but they deserved the truth, especially when a future leader was in question. And her son, Tariq, deserved to know his true heritage. But how would she expose this conspiracy without plunging the village into chaos once again? Amina knew she had to tread carefully. The moonstone, the very symbol of Gino's supposed legitimacy, suddenly seemed to her like the lock to a secret that only the true father could unlock. As the village slept, unaware of the storm that was quietly brewing, Amina began to formulate a plan, a test so definitive that it would reveal the true father without doubt or dispute. However, she still had to ensure the authenticity of the moonstone. If the moonstone itself was part of the deception, its mystical power could still point to the real father, but only if it underwent a ritual known only to the most enlightened sages. Under the cover of night, Amina embarked on a journey to consult the hermit sage of the Ebony Forest, the only person outside the village who could assist her. Amina's journey through the Ebony Forest was filled with risks, including hidden pitfalls, nocturnal predators, and the ever-menacing darkness. Yet, a mother's determination knows no bounds, especially when her child's future is at stake. Deep within the forest, where ancient trees seemed to touch the heavens, Amina finally reached the secluded dwelling of the hermit sage. With a long flowing beard and eyes that held the wisdom of ages, the sage welcomed her, stating that he had been expecting her and had heard the whispers of the forest regarding her plight. Gathering her composure, Amina confided in the sage, sharing the story of Tariq's birth, the journey to the sacred mountain, and the overheard conspiracy between Gino and Nia. She expressed her desire to uncover the truth and asked if the moonstone could still reveal Tariq's true father. The wise sage stroked his beard thoughtfully before responding, explaining that the moonstone was an ancient relic of truth, and while its power could be manipulated, it could not be completely corrupted. He revealed that there existed a ritual lost to time but known to him, which could cleanse the stone of any deceptions. Hope kindled in Amina's eyes as she listened attentively to the sage. He instructed her to perform the ritual of truth on the night of the new moon. The moonstone, bathed in the sacred waters of the Whispering Lake and subjected to this ritual, would shine only in the hands of the true father. Armed with newfound hope and the detailed instructions from the hermit sage, Amina thanked him and embarked on her journey back to the village. As she returned to the village, Amina's heart pounded with a mixture of hope, fear, and anticipation. Just before dawn, unnoticed by others, she slipped back into her home. Determined and resolute, she knew the next step was to retrieve the moonstone from its guarded sanctuary and prepare it for the ritual of truth. The stakes were sky high. Success would reveal the truth to the entire village, but failure risked her reputation and the peace and harmony that currently embraced her community. As Amina gently laid Tariq back into his crib, she looked at her son's serene face, unaware of the turmoil surrounding his young life. The new moon was only 3 nights away, and Amina felt the weight of time pressing upon her. Each passing second carried the impending revelation or disastrous consequence. She had managed to discreetly acquire the moonstone with the help of a sympathetic god who believed in her quest for truth. Now, it lay hidden beneath the floorboards of her heart, pulsing as if aware of its imminent role. Finally, the night of the new moon arrived. With Tariq safely asleep and Gino away at the council meeting, Amina seized her opportunity. She unearthed the moonstone and set off towards Whispering Lake, a secluded body of water known for its cleansing energies. Cloaked in darkness, her heart pounding in sync with her steps, Amina reached the lake and began the ritual of truth. Submerging the moonstone into the water, she recited the ancient incantations imparted to her by the hermit sage. As the last syllable left her lips, the moonstone glowed with a soft white light, illuminating the dark waters. In that moment, Amina felt a ripple of energy coursing through her, as if the spirits of the lake whispered their approval. With the moonstone now cleansed and activated, the stage was set for the revelation that awaited. She came back to the village, her every step shadowed by both anticipation and dread. Tonight, the village would gather for the Feast of Ancestors, a night of celebration. But for Amina, it would be a night that would determine her fate, either vindicating her or bringing her deepest disgrace. As the villagers danced and sang at the feast, Amina revealed the moonstone, claiming it had been further empowered by the spirits for a special blessing. The crowd, fueled by communal fervor and intrigue, eagerly awaited the spectacle. According to ancient customs, each potential father would hold the stone. Amina declared that the true father of Tariq would activate its light. One by one, the men approached, gripping the moonstone tightly, but it remained inert, its light dim. Finally, it was Django's turn. The crowd held its collective breath as Django held the stone, and it flickered but did not fully illuminate. Murmurs of surprise and confusion spread among the crowd. Suddenly, a voice erupted from the back, interrupting the silence. It was Nia, her eyes gleaming with a mix of fear and excitement. She stated that the stone not only spoke to the hands that held it but also to the eyes that met it. Amina and Django locked eyes, then looked at the moonstone. In that moment, the stone flickered violently and then went dark. Gas filled the air, and Gino's face turned ashen. Amina's eyes met the crowd's, and they all knew that Django was not the true father. Nia's maniacal laughter shattered the silence, proclaiming that even the best laid plans falter before the will of the spirits. The aftermath of the failed ritual left the village consumed by disbelief, anger, and urgent curiosity. The elders called for an immediate council meeting to address the situation. Tension hung thick in the air as Nia was the first to speak, her voice filled with a blend of regret and revelation. She acknowledged that the spirits had spoken through the moonstone, revealing that Django was not the true father. However, she urged the village to use this as a time of awakening rather than division. The council erupted into arguments and accusations until the chief elder, Mboka, commanded silence with his age-old wisdom. He stated that the ancestral spirits were displeased with their folly and emphasized the need for truth. Turning to Amina, he asked for her proposal. Amina's voice was firm as she proposed another ritual, one that couldn't be tampered with. She suggested that every man in the village come forth and take an ancestral oath by the river of truth. There, they would declare their paternity, and the river, a divine witness, would reveal the true father. The council agreed, setting the ritual for the following dawn. That night, nobody slept as the villagers were plagued by whispers of scandal and winds of change. As the first light of dawn broke, the village gathered by the river of truth, known for its divine blessings. One by one, the men took the ancestral oath, declaring their innocence or guilt. Finally, it was Django's turn. Amina noticed a flicker of something in his eyes, perhaps regret or a plea for forgiveness. Django dipped his hand into the river, reciting the oath. The waters around his hand turned ominously but did not change color, indicating a truthful oath. The crowd anxiously awaited a divine sign. Suddenly, a cry erupted from the back of the gathering. All eyes turned to see a young man named Motsi, whose hand submerged in the river turned a radiant gold, the undeniable sign of truth in divine rituals. Elder Mboka announced that Motsi, son of Oko, was the true father of Tariq, as declared by the river of truth. The crowd gasped collectively, shocked by the revelation of Motsi, one of the most reclusive men in the village. As Motsi approached Amina and Tariq, his eyes filled with humility and a quiet kind of strength. Elder Mboka stepped forward, silencing the crowd, proclaiming that the river of truth had spoken, and Motsi was the father. The village was called to honor this divine verdict. Turning his gaze towards Django and Nia, he narrowed his eyes in response to those who had led them astray. The council of elders would ensure justice as they faced consequences for their actions. Filled with determination, Motsi took his place beside Amina and Tariq, signaling the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. This chapter would be defined by honesty, respect, and love, qualities that had been absent in their recent past. Accepting his role as the rightful father, Motsi expressed his unwavering commitment to fulfill his responsibilities. The villagers dispersed, their hearts and minds filled with a mix of relief, curiosity, and lingering doubt. The charged atmosphere hinted that things would never be the same again. Later that evening, the Council of Elders convened an emergency session to deliberate the fate of Gino and Nia. Tension filled the chamber as the elders carefully considered the consequences of their decision. Finally, a verdict was reached. Gino was stripped of his title and status and mandated to perform public service as a form of atonement. Nia, on the other hand, was banished from her role as oracle, to be replaced by a new seer chosen through divine consultation. The next day, both Gino and Nia faced the village, publicly apologizing for their deceit. They carried an air of disgrace, tinged with tragedy, serving as a reminder that even well-intentioned actions can lead to disastrous outcomes when they stray from the path of truth. The prophetic words about Tariq's leadership destiny began to come true as the village experienced unexpected prosperity. crop yields increased, disputes among villagers decreased, and a newfound unity took hold. Even Gino, humbled by his public disgrace, discovered redemption through genuine atonement. Nia, stripped of a title, embarked on a life of introspection, her wisdom no longer tainted by manipulation. Thus, in a village that had been deeply shaken, a brighter and wiser dawn emerged, brimming with promise. Challenges were expected, but the community had been fortified by the invaluable virtues of truth and unity, making a significant difference. Amina, Motsi, and Tariq stood at the threshold of a promising new life, their hearts resonating with the enduring wisdom that the revelation of truth has the power to heal, transform, and herald a brighter future. Thank you for following this captivating tale. Sometimes, the path to truth may be arduous and convoluted, but it is a journey worth embarking on, for truth is what liberates us. Thank you for listening, and see you again soon.